Hey Tom, did you hear about the big Sony exclusive that got a price drop recently?
No.
How about you?
Make that big boss less special. It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level. Second level. Second level gaming. Second level.
Hello, Internet, and welcome to episode 4 of TCSX, your
you
PlayStation podcast. Yeah, I wrote it. So when I do the TCSX scripts, whatever you want to call them, outlines, I always put the date, not the episode.
Smart.
So that way I know which drop goes in partially.
Yeah.
But my name's Keegan. I'm one half of Love 2 Gamers. Hanging out with Tom, the other half of Love 2 Gamers. How you doing today, Tom?
I'm grand.
That's
doing good.
You're doing
I got
good.
my new FaZe shirt on, FaZe Clan. That's a esports thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, I'm doing good, man.
You good?
I feel pretty good, pretty hot.
Do you feel pretty hot for me? Is that what you just said?
No, pretty hot in general. We're in the basement. There's but like also hot like.
I thought you were hot for me.
No, not
I'm
for you.
jealous.
Sorry.
But TCSX, we're going to go through, we jump through the news, we jump through the new releases, we do a game spotlight, and end it all off with a question. So let's go ahead and jump into the news. And as you heard in the little teaser at the beginning, you know that's how these things work, there's a Sony exclusive that got a price drop. It's a big Sony exclusive got a price drop.
Probably one of the biggest, actually, at this point in time.
I'm kind of surprised it dropped when
outside
it
of, like
did.
Uncharted, you know.
Sony drops the price of Horizon Zero Dawn to $49.99, according to PlayStation Lifestyle. Here's the new prices for Horizon Zero Dawn on North America PlayStation Store. Horizon Zero Dawn, $49.99, $66.99 Canadian. Horizon Zero Dawn Digital Deluxe Edition, $59.99, $79.99 Canadian.
So if you buy it like regular price, you get the deluxe edition, basically.
Yeah, which
but
is kind of
otherwise
cool.
You get $10 off.
What's the deluxe edition give you? I don't really know. To be honest, I've
probably the DLC. I don't know.
that would probably be part of it, like a season pass, because I know the DLC's separate. Because it wasn't the DLC wasn't
not even out yet, is
yeah,
it?
the DLC isn't out yet, and it wasn't out.
I don't know. I imagine probably just
I'm
some
sure
skins and stuff
yeah, I'm
like
sure.
that.
I'm sure they've got special
Different
things,
costumes or weapons or some dinosaurs maybe.
You get some cool dinosaurs to ride.
Robosaurs.
So that's kind of cool. I was kind of surprised. I mean, it makes sense because I feel like they're doing the. It's $10, but it's $10. No, yeah, $10, but it's $10 in total. Or it makes sense for the when the DLC's coming out. So
yeah, I mean the weird part about it is there's been a lot of these sort of perma price drops lately, especially in the world of PSVR. So you wonder if like Horizon got battered around good games, and it still stood head and shoulders above everything. Like
other than I think Zelda was the only thing that kind of beat it because Zelda was its own thing.
Yeah, but because they're on different consoles and they have different kind of audiences, I think that it was able to almost capitalize on the want of PS4 fanboys that wanted to play Zelda.
You say that, but I know a lot of people that got a Switch because of Zelda that play PS4 as well. Because to me, Nintendo's a companion
Oh, I know.
console.
I'm just saying, like, for the people that don't have one, I think it was kind of like
couldn't find one.
Zelda, you know, like, and it's because
it's a good game. I played it on our 24-hour charity live stream. I enjoyed it. I murdered a lot of dinosaurs at the end. I walked into a cave or kind of cove thing and was like, oh shit.
Apparently it gets better the more you stick with it as well, because here's the thing, I got distracted from it, which I think why they're doing a price drop now to get more people back involved with it.
And again, the DLC, so they're probably doing this
and the DLC, just ride that wave. They might even do like a pack where once the DLC comes out, you can buy the whole thing again for $60 or whatever. But it's a great game, and I would say if you haven't picked it up yet and the price has been what's been daunting you, unless it shows up on a sale, which I don't think I've seen it on a sale ever.
Yeah, I don't think I mean it will be on a sale at some point. But
yeah, I mean it's getting to that territory.
I don't think it will be this year until maybe around holiday. They might do a holiday sale that has like the best of the year on it, or because you would think it would have been around E3 because the E3s always have that crazy sale that happens. But I can't remember if they do a year-end sale on PSN.
They did a mid-year sale, so I would think they would do a year-end sale. Yeah,
I'm guessing
because
they usually they got to do something around the holidays because people pick up PS4s. Best way to get a game.
Yeah, I mean it might be a part of a bundle or something. That way it's cheaper for them to. I don't know, but either way, if you haven't had it, check it out. It is a great game. It really is. It stands head and shoulders above most other games graphically in the PS4, if nothing else. So if you're a graphics whore, then definitely peep it. But it's a lengthy game. It's a good story. A lot of people are into it, so yeah, check it out.
The next bit of news is Dying Light developer Techland discusses the up-and-coming year of free content / DLC.
I'm throwing bows.
Let me quote this here. Going over their plans to release 10 free pieces of DLC in the next 12 months. Producer Timon Smectala, is that how we decided to say his name?
Timon Smectala.
Smectala showed that 500,000 people played Dying Light weekly in May 2017, which is just 200,000 less than the 700,000 weekly active users seen in September 2015. That's impressive, first of all.
Oh, it's a hell of a game. Like, it was literally right up there in my game of the year. So the problem was it came out in January, so it got like slept on pretty bad. It was a delay.
It also helped that it came out in January because I don't think
there wasn't a whole lot going on.
There wasn't much going on,
But
so it was able to come to the top.
It's such a deep game. It's such a
It's the
clever
opposite
game.
of what Horizon had, where Horizon Horizon didn't get buried, but it was going against stiff competition.
Yeah, it didn't have the throne. For
I think
very
Bloodborne
long.
was the only other thing at that. Was Bloodborne 2015 or 16? I can't remember.
I think it was February of that year. I can't remember
Can't
exactly,
remember.
but yeah, Dying Light's one of those games that like the single player is fantastic. It's really lengthy. It's a lot of fun, but of course they have the multiplayer in there too. And who doesn't like to kill zombies with friends? Then they released that awesome, DLC that
The
just
vehicles?
added like an entire new section of vehicles. They really catered to the fans on that one, and they've been consistently allowing Sony to put it in sales left, right, and center. So I think it's really nice that they said they're still going to dig into it. Obviously,
I think it was on
people
sale
want
just last
Dying
week.
Light 2.
Yeah.
People want that, but maybe this is what
But it's
that's
only
leading up to.
They're only
you know?
2 years away from it, so they probably wouldn't have the game ready yet.
Yeah.
Even if they did.
It ramps you up more and gets you more interested. Like, oh, remember that awesome zombie game? I'm going to replay it. I legitimately feel like 10 pieces of DLC. Fuck yeah, I'm going to start again and re-experience.
Do you want to
it.
know what you're getting in this DLC, Tom?
I'd love to know.
After thanking the fans for the continued support, Smektala, in the next 12 months, quote, in the next 12 months, we will give you 10 pieces of original, new content. You can expect new, challenging enemies, more in-game events, new mysteries to solve, and much, much more. The best thing is, all this stuff will be free for all our players across all platforms. In the original announcement, Techland also said you can expect never before seen locations and additional gameplay tweaks.
Wow.
So I don't know if that means they're adding a section of the map or if they're just kind of saying you couldn't go here before.
Probably going to either open up a part that's already there, like there'll be a door that you can go into suddenly, or they might actually do another big chunk like they did with the following DLC. But I'm more so excited about the tweaks because I think when it's talking about gameplay tweaks, it's probably talking about the skills. And the skills were some of the most fun in that game because that was when you could, in Dead Island, all you ever really wanted to do was run at a zombie and jump over it, and you couldn't do it. So the fact that they have that now, because that game gets really open with the grappling hook when that comes into play. So
when we played, the one moment I will never forget was we recorded this back when it came out when our channel first started.
When.
I think it was our second Let's Play after Stranded Deep.
I think so.
I believe it was. We were standing up on some sort of roof of something, and there was a zombie, and I kicked him off the ledge. And then I was like, let's jump in the water and see what happens. And you're like, no, you're gonna die. I was like, fuck it, let's do it. And nothing happened. You survived because you hit the water.
And then that was that time when we did the dive onto the dumpster as well. There was like a dumpster / mattress or whatever, and we jumped off like kind of a weird Eiffel Tower looking thing onto it.
And then we fought that big boss guy that murdered us quite a bit.
Yeah, we
good times.
Didn't make it.
That's when we were wee lads.
Yeah,
we were baby YouTubers back then.
You know what? We should link to that if we remember. That's a good time.
We learned last week. I'm not good at remembering to link to things.
I write them in my notes.
I'm real bad.
Yeah,
I'm real bad at that.
Anyway.
So that's the news for the week. There's not much going on. It's a pretty slow news week. I was trying to see if there's some big news. The Destiny 2 beta is kind of the big thing right now. It just happened this past weekend. They actually extended it. I don't know what they extended it to. Did you play it at all?
No.
I played a little bit of it, and to me, it's more Destiny, so I'm probably not going to pick it up. I'm always curious because I didn't hate Destiny's gameplay. I hated Destiny's story, and the story sounds like it's gotten better, but at the same time, I'm like,
I think they've made it cheesier. Like, from all the trailers that I've seen, when now they're giving the characters these really weird, quirky personalities, I'm like, I'm not a fan of that. So I'm more looking forward to, I forget the name of it, with the BioWare one that's coming out with the Iron Man people. What's the name of that one?
Anthem?
Anthem, that one. I'm much more looking forward to Anthem.
I thought you were talking about, I can't remember the name of the game I'm thinking of right now. There's another game that's very similar that's coming out here soon. I was like, I was thinking about that, but that's not it.
Let's move on.
So that's the news, yeah. Moving on to the new releases. Let's go in, and if we do, we're going to read the Drizzity drop.
This has to stop being
We're back to Drizzities. The drop for the week of July 25th, 2017, 7/25/2017. There are a bunch of new games, including a bunch of PSVR games.
Yeah.
So let's start with A Healer Only Lives Twice, PS4 Digital.
Easily the best name of anything on the drop this week.
Yeah, but bad gameplay.
You think so?
I watched the trailer. It's not good.
Yeah, okay.
Monsters have cornered you in dungeon corridors. As a newly hired priest, your duties are to use your magical abilities to heal your comrade, a knight on the front line. So your comrade's a knight, apparently. And provide support during battle. Will these two brave souls live to see the light of day again? So you're playing the healer the whole time.
That's interesting, though.
It's a cool concept.
What's the style of game?
It's a dungeon
dungeon crawler.
isometric dungeon
Like a
looking
roguelike or
thing.
something.
Yeah, I don't know really how
But,
to.
you know, you got to give him props for at least doing a twist on the genre. The fact
Yeah.
that you're the healer, not the big guy.
The trailer just
slashing
didn't look
around.
very good when I checked it out.
Not for everybody, but for some people. I like the picture. So
Yeah.
there's that. Yeah.
The font's a bit weird. I feel like it should have been like a creepier font instead of as bold as it is.
Well, it's almost like a James Bond thing, isn't it?
Sure. I've never seen a James Bond movie other than Casino Royale.
All right, we got some talking to do
the
after
only
this
one I've done.
podcast. Carry on.
Next one. I know you're excited about this as an Englishman. Active Soccer 2 DX, PS4 and PS Vita Digital. Did you get Active Soccer 1?
I did not. I did not pick up
crossbuy.
Active Soccer 1. I also don't know what the DX stands for.
Active Soccer 2 DX is an exciting top-down arcade football game. You know, it's English. Providing a fast-paced arcade
How
experience.
do I know it's English? It goes Active Soccer 2
But it says
DX.
football.
In the comment, maybe the blog is English, but
Maybe.
this
This is the US
devs
blog.
aren't.
This is a US blog. It's blog.us.playstation.com.
I don't know. It looks,
You excited
I mean,
about that
whatever.
for Active Soccer?
I like
2
top-down
DX?
soccer games. I genuinely enjoy top-down soccer games. So
Are you
I don't know.
you're a was it PES? Is that the other one? There's FIFA and there's another one.
Yeah, PES.
PES.
Yeah, it
PES,
was
you know, like the
professional-
candy.
Pro Evo.
Yeah, I never played that one. I was always a FIFA guy.
It was only good back in the day. Like on the SNES, it was good, but past that, it sucked.
It just kind of sucked. They've been doing all right. I mean, I saw them at the E3 and they're like, people were cheering when they showed up on IGN stage.
Yeah, for people that hate FIFA, they're the anti.
They're the anti-FIFA.
Yeah, exactly. So that's who you go to if you hate FIFA.
This one I'm excited about. The Avon Colony. Build a new home for humanity in Avon Colony. Colony. Coloscopy. Discover Avon Prime, an alien planet of deserts, tundras, wetlands, light years from Earth. Build your own colonies into massive sprawling cities while dealing with the challenges faced when settling a new world.
It's like
You know
Mass
this.
Effect Andromeda.
You know
sounds
this.
Exactly like it.
No.
That's what you do in Mass Effect
It's a city
Andromeda.
builder.
Well, no, it's not a god mode. What I'm saying, that's
Yeah.
the purpose.
Yes, but
is
so you build
establish
you
a
build
new
the world for
humanity.
Mass Effect, and then you play in Mass Effect, and it's in this world.
Yeah, why not?
But I love my city builders. I love my tycoon
Did you
games.
say
so-
silly
My
builders?
city builders.
Oh, I thought you said silly
My silly
builders.
builders.
You know I like the silly builders.
Yeah, I love those, like City Skylines. Back in the day, played a lot of tycoons: Roller Coaster Tycoon, Mall Tycoon, Cruise Ship Tycoon, Zoo Tycoon, Space
You
Tycoon.
just really want to be a tycoon, huh?
I would love to be a tycoon. I'm working on it.
YouTube tycoon.
Yeah, there's actually one for
Is it?
that. Yes,
Wow.
I don't think it's called YouTube Tycoon.
I know
I
they
think
have
it's called
that, like,
YouTube Simulator.
There's like a game dev simulator.
Yeah.
Which I've seen. Which
and
looks
if you
interesting.
if you crack it and you steal it, you automatically will fail every time. Like you can't win the game if you steal a copy of it because they built it in saying, hey, because
funny.
people in games steal your game, so you lose all your money.
Right.
So it's quite clever.
That's
Shout out
hilarious.
to those guys. Circuit Breakers PS4 Digital. Go back to the 1980s. Shoot, explode, and explore in this frenzied top-down arcade blaster with a modern twist. Become a supreme warrior or co-op with up to 3 friends to rid the universe of a ruthless intergalactic robot army. I almost made this one of our spotlights because
Sorry, I fell asleep.
you go into an arcade cabinet. Yeah, but it's a real interesting looking game.
Is it?
Yeah, it sounds very generic. But
Looks
you
generic
literally
as
you
shit.
literally go
I gotta
into-
say,
you
I do
literally
like
go
the
into an arcade.
'80s, the '80s like fonts
I
there,
like,
but
I like the 80s.
I do genuinely like the '80s.
I was not alive in
but
the
the
80s.
fonts are cool. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's a bad representation if it's a good game. I'll just say that.
I don't know if it's a good game. It just
But I know we
is it-
judge the art here because that's all we really
Yeah.
have to go off because that's what you guys can see. But
I don't know if it's a good game. It's an interesting game.
yeah,
Interesting looking game.
We'll take it. Maybe we'll dig into it one day.
Caller X Malice or Caller times Malice. I'm gonna guess X because X is big and bloody.
It's Japan, I'm guessing it's.
PS Vita digital out 7/28. That's a Friday release. For those of you who Tom learned about Friday releases last week.
That will be in 2 days.
A dangerous shadow organization launches a campaign of fear and violence in the city of Shinjuku.
All right, keep going.
I
You're
love
doing
how I
good.
got that one.
You got it.
Pushing society to the brink of chaos. As a young police officer tasked with restoring order, you become the target of an attack and have a poisonous collar attached to your neck.
So close.
With the situation spiraling out of control and time running out, 5 mysterious strangers appear to aid you in your quest for the truth.
It's a Japanese game.
It's a PS Vita game now.
Yeah.
Long live the Vita.
Dude, they're still making them.
I know.
Well, Japan is still making them. No one else is. But Japan is killing it.
This next one I got excited about, but
that? Is it a city builder?
I thought it was just
Silly
based,
builder?
based on what it's. I thought it was a silly builder based on what it looks like. Constructor PS4 digital out 7/28. In a town where anything goes, you can't rise to the top without taking a few down. From dodgy deals to shifty tricks, Do what you got to do to go from small-time slumlord to filthy rich tycoon.
Sounds like an iOS game.
Yes.
But it has the word tycoon in it, so it's got that going for it.
Yeah. Tycoon. Well, no, immediately I saw this like, ooh, this is a city builder. And then
It looks like one.
I haven't looked at the
that
trailer.
makes it look like one.
Yes, I really
It looks
hope
like
it
that,
does.
or it looks like one of those cheapo Mafia games on a
Yes,
on an
that's
iPhone.
what I got the cheap Mafia vibe from it. This one's an interesting one.
That's the big one, right?
Fortnite, yes. Digital and retail, PS4.
Can I just say props for using the word Fortnite, by the way, which Americans don't know, apparently. And since our audience is mostly American, let me explain. A fortnight is 2 weeks. I get that they're doing a play on words here because you're building a fort and surviving the night, but still, a fortnight is 2 weeks, and there's a word for it, and it exists, and you should use it.
The more you know.
There you
Reading
go.
Rainbow.
Fortnite.
Fortnite. The storm came without warning. 98% of the world's population has vanished. Then come the monsters.
Oh.
Lead the world's remaining heroes into fight to hold back the storm. These sentences seem really short. I feel like I'm used to having more words in a sentence because they have to put as many adjectives.
Maybe they knew
Here we go. Here it
Maybe they
is.
knew you were reading.
Explore the large, destructible world where no two games are ever the same. Build forts, craft exotic weapons, find loot, and level up your heroes. Take on the storm with 4-player online co-op. Welcome to Epic Games' new action-building game, Fortnite.
It's Minecraft, but fancier.
Yeah, it's
Basically.
I was trying. Yeah, it's yeah. I was trying to figure out how like I wanted to.
It looks great. Like, here's the thing. I
don't-
fucking hate building games,
love
so
'em.
I'm not on board with it. But
I need to get you
do-
one of these days. We're gonna do like a 12-hour stream, and you're gonna build something with me. Whether
in
it's
Minecraft or something.
whether it's Minecraft,
I
whether
have
it's
Minecraft.
so do I.
God knows why.
Whether it's Minecraft, whether it's Fallout 4, whether it's whatever.
Maybe. But it looks like it might be a fun streaming game. But I don't know, man. Like, I'm not really that into it. I don't like the whole, build up your house and build your... Like, it just bores me to tears.
Why?
Doing that stuff.
But it's yours.
I don't care.
Games don't give you-
I never played with Legos, man.
Games never.
I never played with
that's-
Legos. I
that's-
like the
Well,
figures
that's
that were
problem number one.
pre-made.
You never played with Legos.
I like the figures that were pre-made and they were
Dude.
detailed quality.
Dude, come on.
I'm a storyteller, man. I like to.
I'm a-
I like to make stories with the toys. I don't like to make blocks.
So-
because that's just.
Do you know what Kinects are?
No.
So Kinects, picture like I'll put it up on the screen so you guys can see. But Kinects are like Legos, but like they're like Tinker toys kind of, where they
Okay.
have like
Oh, they're the little like bundles.
yeah, they have these things. So these are all separate pieces.
Okay.
So the difference between me and you is I used to play the
There
crap
are
out of-
many differences
out
between
of-
me and you.
Yes, out of Kinects, I had in my basement at one point. I had a roller coaster that was 3 feet by 5 feet tall. I had a Ferris wheel that was 3 feet in diameter, and I had a roller coaster that was 4 feet by 7 feet tall because I could.
I would just buy a
My
roller
mom
coaster.
thought I was gonna be an architect. Sorry, Mom.
I just hate DIY at all. Like, I can't build anything. I'm not
'cause you're not
designed
creative.
to build.
You're not
Yeah,
creative.
Well,
You
no,
gotta
I'm
get
creative in
creative.
different ways.
Not in that way.
I am creative with other things, but I cannot bear building. And that's no knock on anyone.
We're gonna do a
that
12-hour
enjoys it
stream
or
where you
that
just
builds
build
or whatever.
something.
Like, if you're a builder in
You'll
real life,
understand.
good for you, man. You're making homes for people and
You'll
shit.
understand.
But me personally, it's not a life I can live.
It's a life you're gonna live at some point.
No.
I'll make you do it.
Not gonna happen.
We're gonna have a new series called Tom Builds.
It's gonna be so bad.
Next game, Heroes of the Seven Seas, PSVR Digital. Play as a pirate seeking the legendary Seven Seas artifacts in a vivid VR world.
That's a long description.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks all right, though.
The art sounds interesting.
we have a caveat with this, and we'll get into it in tomorrow's Codename Morpheus episode, but it's originally ported from
Gear.
which
Samsung
is like
phone.
a phone VR thing. So
It is not
don't
like a phone, it is a
expect
phone.
well, don't expect it to be too in-depth, but it does. The trailer makes it look great.
Yes. This one I'm excited about.
I'm totally stoked. on this.
Infinite Mini Golf PSVR Digital. Have fun in Infinite Mini Golf, a never-ending mini golf experience. Take part
Never-ending?
in tournaments and challenges.
That's
Use
dope.
arcade-style power-ups and experience unique gameplay, great graphics, and more. You know why I like this, Tom?
Because it's crazy.
No, because you can build a golf course.
Well, that's a nice touch.
But you don't like building, so you're not going to get to build anything.
No, I'll play yours. That's how it works.
You can build the game.
I never used to build anything in Little Planet, Little Big
Big
Planet. I would just go and get the people that enjoy
We're good at
building
it?
and play their games.
We're good at it.
Yeah.
We should do that. We'll do a co-op stream at some point where I build something and you play it.
Well,
if we get
yeah,
this.
I'm a taker, not a giver when it comes to that. Sorry.
Hey now, you're an all-star. Another Vita game. It's spring again. PS Vita digital
How
out 7/28.
cute is that, Sun? Is that Sun?
I'm guessing an
Got
educational
Files by
game.
it, no.
An educational game for children ages 2 and up. It uses
Aw.
game mechanics to teach children about the seasons.
That's lovely. How much is it?
I don't know. I'd love to know
does it
what
say?
the price is.
If it's like a couple bucks, yeah, why not? Why not do that?
The son wants to give you lots of hugs.
iOS and those markets have a monopoly on kids games. I'd like to see more kids games on PS4, as long as they're well done.
Yeah. This one I actually looked at the trailer again because I was intrigued with it. Leaving Lindau, PS4 digital, out 7/27, which is a Thursday release.
Looks like my type of game, just judging from the picture. It looks like one of those sort of what became of Edith Finch type deals.
It's Claire's last day on the island where she grew up. She needs to complete preparations, visit her favorite places, say her goodbyes before leaving on a journey she may not return from.
Ooh.
So when I watched the trailer immediately, and I watched a little bit of gameplay, immediately I thought of you because it was like Sherlock Holmes. Like you could pick, like Edith Finch, you could pick stuff up. So you nailed it on the head with the.
It's like a
style of
walking
it.
sim that's just a bit more action in it.
I didn't see that much of it. I just saw just glimpses of it.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. But I'm going to say yes based on what I saw.
Cool.
But I'm not 100% sure.
My Spotlight is a walking simulator as well, so yeah, I've been into that lately. It just
You like
it's like a
walking.
story. It's just well, it's just like you can relax a little bit. You don't have to be constantly shooting things. You just walk around and experience the story. It's like an interactive movie.
Well, that's like Yonder. That's what Yonder is. That's
Well,
why I feel
because it's
you can
passive, yeah. But you still have to like build stuff in Yonder. I don't want to
do-
build.
No, you
stuff.
don't.
Dude,
I mean, you
craft.
You
What is
don't. You really
crafting?
don't have to craft that much.
Bob, I'll take. What's another word for crafting, beginning with B? Building. Yeah, there you go. Job done.
But you don't have to. You don't have to craft in that game. You pick up. You
I
can
would
pick up a
not.
lot of stuff.
I
You
would
can
be
buy
far too
stuff.
fed
You can
up.
do all that kind of stuff. You could sell stuff and buy stuff if you
Okay.
wanted to.
Yeah, that's me. Give me the money. I'll pay a guy to build something.
Lost Grimoires?
Grimoires.
Grimoires? I don't speak
Where's
French.
your French?
Lost Grimoires, Stolen Kingdom, PS4 Digital. An alchemist apprentice returns home from university to finish her training under a great master. I thought that was Grandmaster. Things go awry when she revisits her family home, where dark secrets and the mystery of her parents' disappearance lies buried.
Nothing about that looks appealing to me.
It looks like, what's that card game? Magic.
Magic the Gathering.
I'm definitely getting a Magic vibe from that picture.
I don't know. It just looks super generic. It looks like an iOS game, which it may be the best game in the world ever. So I always feel bad when I say there's nothing attractive about that. I'm just really like in this section of our TCSX, I judge the
Based on
artwork more than
the
anything.
art that you guys see behind us.
and it's a personal preference. So some people will see.
But
that
that's how
and
you
go,
pick a game. But that's how you pick a game.
That's an important part of it.
I mean, like I said, for me, this constructor one or whatever it was, constructor. Like I was like, ooh, that intrigues me.
First impressions, guys. Leaving Lindau has a terrible one, but I kind of know. I know exactly what type of game it's going to be just by looking at it. So
Yeah.
I know I'll be into
Dude, it is PS Vita week on
it.
here. PS Vita and PSVR.
What we got?
Polera, PS Vita digital. Polera is an exciting new action game in which you control Laura, the astronaut. Using changeable colors of her spacesuit, you must activate event systems of an entire city, jump, and change. That's all you need to do.
Sounds like a platformy puzzler with
Yes.
colors, which is fine. I mean, for a Vita game, that's fine.
I need to look up this one. I didn't. This is one I need to look
Well,
up.
let's hear what it says. and we'll
Pressure
see if we can
Overdrive,
guess what it
PS4
is.
digital.
The artwork's a little weird.
Ready for overdrive. Upgrade your steam buggy and pump up the pressure while you boost and blast your way through vibrant settings and countless enemies. Intense action arcade is waiting for you.
Just sounds like a car combat thing.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a guy with a gun on a car shooting another dude. So
it looks like it's comedy too, which is
Yes, which is why I like
okay.
it.
That I'll at least watch a trailer for that. Looking at that picture, I would watch a trailer for it.
His
That
face looks like
Grimoire
something
one,
from
I wouldn't
Pixar.
even watch the trailer.
Pyre, there's another big one this week.
Big one.
PS4 digital. Pyre is a party-based RPG from the creators of Bastion and Transistor.
Transistor.
Lead your band of exiles to freedom through a series of mystical competitions in the campaign, or challenge a friend to a fast-paced ritual showdown in head-to-head versus mode.
Looks all right.
I don't
From
know.
what I've seen, it looks all right.
Yeah.
This is what we would call a Jordan game.
Yes.
But yeah, he was telling me about it the other day and said he's really excited for it. But anything from Bastion and Transistor guys is going to be fun.
Yes.
It depends on.
I've not played Transistor. I played a little bit of Transistor, but I played Bastion.
played Bastion?
I played
That's good, right?
Played quite a bit of Bastion.
Good time. I bet that had that kind of narrator as the hook for the game. But
Yeah.
but Pyre looks interesting. I would say definitely at least watch the trailer, give it a swab, see what you think.
I think you're excited for this next game. This looks like a Tom
I can't
game.
wait.
Rugby League Live 4. Did you get the first 3, Tom?
I didn't. Can't say that I did.
PS4 digital out 7/28. A deep career mode that spans multiple decades. Take a player from junior ranks right up to the big leagues.
I used to play rugby. I was a hooker.
I'm sorry
That's
to
a
hear
real
that.
position in rugby. I should point that out. That's a real position. You hook the ball away from the scrum. There you go. You learned something else. 2 things today.
You're a hooker.
I'm a hooker.
I feel like it needs to be made into a T-shirt. I'm a hooker.
And what was the other
No,
thing?
Bag's like, no, what
I've
you
already
mean.
forgotten the other thing they learned.
Fortnite.
Oh, Fortnite. I'm a hooker into Fortnite.
You're a hooker for 2 weeks.
That's right.
Smashbox Arena, PSVR Digital.
Really, guys.
An action-packed
That's the best artwork you can come
multiplayer
up with.
VR game. Smashbox Arena throws into a shootout battle of a team versus team. Sorry, try that again.
Dude, you're dying.
Take 2. I know. It's been a fun week. An action-packed multiplayer VR game, Smashbox Arena, throws players into a shootout battle of team versus team, power up versus power up. I feel like it should keep going. Combats can play single player, party up with your friends, or face up against opponents across the globe. Looks like Smash Brothers.
Well, the art does, but it's kind of like American Gladiators meets Splatoon, if you can picture that.
By the way, Jordan will argue with you about Splatoon being AAA. Splatoon 2 is amazing, apparently.
Yeah, everyone says that. I don't care.
should.
I've never liked Splatoon.
There's only been one,
Yeah, well, I didn't.
so I've never liked it. I didn't like the first one. Did you try it?
Yeah.
Did you give it a good old college try, or did you give it the?
I mean, I played it a little bit.
Did you give it the Tom Art look at it?
I'm not a fan of games that don't let me murder people. And
They do.
Well, it's not really murder, is it?
Yeah, it is.
There's no blood. There's squids.
There's paint.
Yeah,
There's ink.
It's too.
Didn't you watch Finding Nemo? Oh, you made me ink.
It's too cutesy. I can't do it. But I'm not saying it's a shit game. It's obviously a good game. Not my thing.
Sundered PS4 Digital out 7/28. All these are Friday releases.
Yeah.
Sundered is a horrifying fight for survival and sanity. A hand-drawn epic from the creators of Jotun. We played that game.
Yeah, that was great.
Resist or embrace ancient Eldritch powers.
Oh,
You
look at
play
Ish.
It's ESHE.
Esh.
You play Esh, a wanderer in a ruined world trapped in ever-changing caverns filled with hordes of terrifying enemies.
I would look at that. Jotun was a lot of fun. I like that game a lot, so I would take a look at that.
This is the one I'm going to spotlight because I did not expect to. I watched the trailer of this and I was like, this is actually kind of cool looking. Bad name. We're going to start with that.
Super
Cloud Built. Super Cloud Built. PS4
Yeah,
Digital.
That is a terrible name.
Take on the role of Demi, a young soldier who wakes up in an empty shell of a ruined building in a strange new world, disconnected from her old life and physical body. With each new challenge she overcomes, Demi slowly pieces together the future now laid out before her. So this game, what do you think it is? I'm going to start with that. When you heard that description, or based on the art, what do you think it is?
Platformer.
Kind of. You're close. It is a parkour platformer with some shooting elements.
Hardcore
Parkour. And what got me was the parkour side of things, where it's just like you're jumping from platform to platform, but it's walls and stuff like that, and you're jumping up and you're going vertical, and it reminded me a lot of a third person Mirror's Edge style game. So it was interesting. It is a platformer. It's a mix of like Mirror's Edge with like I would probably put it closest like Mario Galaxy would be the closest.
Is it 2D?
Thing? It's 3D.
3D. Okay.
Well, it's like 2.5D because you can go this way, but I think the art's 2D.
Interesting.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, but
So-
it's okay. I believe you.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where you can go in Z space, but the art is flat. So it's not actually. You're not actually. I don't believe you're actually going in Z space.
Gotcha.
Well, you are, but the art does not go in Z space.
Moving on.
Got it. But no, this one, I really think
You want to play
you
it?
should pick up. I might pick it up because it looks interesting. I don't know how much it was. I want to say it was like $10.
Wouldn't
I
be
believe.
that pricey.
I think $10, but it was really interesting. It was not what I expected it to be when I looked it up.
Watch the trailer.
So, next one, Theseus PSVR out 7/26.
Super excited.
Theseus is an immersive VR experience that offers a new take on the myth of Minotaur. Enjoy a mix of exploration, story, and combat with a strong cinematic feel. Do you have what it takes to unveil the truth that lies at the heart of the labyrinth?
That was like one solid breath for you.
It's because
Labyrinth. Yeah, it's awesome.
We have the first 40. So, I feel like disclaimer. We got the key early.
This comes out though after we do this, so we can talk about it now. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna talk
but
about
disclaimer.
it
We
more
got
tomorrow,
we got it. We got it early.
got
We were able
the
to play
key.
it. You played it. I haven't played it yet. I've got it downloaded. I haven't tried it yet, but I want to.
As of time of recording, it comes out tomorrow.
Yeah.
But as of time of watching, it comes out today. But it's great. It really is good. It's so I won't go too deep into it because we'll save it for Codename. But basically it's a sort of a twist on the tale of Theseus and the Minotaur, and
That's what it said.
yeah, but it's so well done because it kind of combines this bound style movement in terms of like you're kind of over the shoulder of the protagonist with like still screens. So like you'll be 1 minute you'll be over the shoulder like controlling left and right and stuff, and then you'll be in like almost like a early Resident Evil game where you had like a photo room and you would run around the room and do stuff and climb and stuff. So it switches between those two formats, kind of similar to Bang, but Bang was more free flowing through most of it. But there's combat in there, there's puzzles in there, there's a big fucking Minotaur in there. Really, really good time. So yeah, it's a high price for that. And of course, by now you will have noticed we have a good 40-minute chunk of gameplay for you to watch and a review up on the channel because we were good about trying to get on top of it.
Woo! Next one, Tiny Tracks, another PSVR game. This one I'm interested in because this is a geeking game.
Yeah.
Epic racing in a tiny world. Childhood imagination comes to life in as tiny racers boost around your body. You jump overhead and drift around bends and inches from your face. So this is a third person?
I believe so, from everything I've seen.
So could you build, you know what'd be really cool?
You could build a Scalextrics track or something.
If you could build a Hot Wheels style track around you.
Yeah, that would be cool.
If that's in here, that's a no-brainer.
That'd be hard to race, though, because when you turn around, you'd lose tracking, and it wouldn't know where you were.
No, because it's just your head. You're using the DualShock.
No, but I mean, like, if it's built around you, and you want to see your car as it goes around, then you have
lights
to
on
turn with it.
Yeah, there's lights on the back, though. You just spin around.
Yeah.
I stand up when I play VR games. You
I don't. I sit down.
Get a spinny chair, Tom. David gets a spinny chair.
Oh, a spinny chair would be good.
Yeah.
But then the chair would cover, unless it's a smaller chair.
Yeah.
My chairs I have big backs that cover my head. See,
because you're short.
I'm a creature of habit. I'm a creature of laziness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they did that, that'd be really cool. I've looked at some trailers from this. It looks interesting.
Right. Yeah.
I would love to see kind of perspective and how hard it is to race in third person. Because when we did, what was the other one we did?
Turbo Mania, Turbo Mania.
There we go.
Turbo Track Mania.
Turbo Track Mania.
One of those.
When we did that, when I did the third person one, it's kind of hard to judge where I was and how I needed to turn all that kind of stuff. So that's the only question I have with this. But other than that, it sounds like very much a me game.
Yeah.
Next one, Unbox Newbie's Adventure, PS4 Digital.
Dear God.
The ultimate postal service has arrived. Self-delivering cardboard boxes. Unbox Newbie's Adventure is a unique physics platformer. Enjoy an epic first-player adventure or grab up to 4 friends for local multiplayer races, battles, and challenges. That actually sounds kind of cool.
I'm going to give him a pass for the description making me want to play it more than the artwork.
I was going to say, it's the name I think that's... Because the artwork I like. I like the artwork. I think it's the name.
The name is... Yeah.
The name is what...
It might be that.
It's the name what's throwing it off. Because I like the explosive with the dude with the monocle. You got like Superman here. You got some dude with a bazooka and a suit. And then whatever the hell that guy is with the rockets.
It's a fire truck.
Yeah.
With a crown.
Yeah. See, like... To me, it's the name.
Let's give it.
It's the name.
Yeah.
Well, 1 out of 10 for the name.
We really should just like vote on the drop releases as like 1 for title, 2 for picture, and 3 for description.
So the one that had the 1-line description, he's like, oh, cool.
Yeah, that was.
Remember last week when we had the same description
Same
twice?
description for both. Yeah, that was great. 2 different games.
Next one, Vostok Inc. PS4 Digital out 7/26.
I would at least watch the trailer for that based on the artwork.
You're the newly appointed CEO of Vostok Inc. As a greedy space capitalist, your goal is to get stinky, filthing rich. Pilot your own spaceship and blast your way through the solar system and collect cash to help profit your company.
Less excited.
I lost it. Yeah, they
less
lost
excited.
Me. Yeah.
The picture made
we
it
really
look a lot
we
more
really
fun.
need to do that. Like, we should there should be like an excitement meter. It's like, oh, we're excited.
Title to artwork to description. Title looks okay. The font's cool. It's an interesting-ish name. Picture looks awesome. Description, no. Sorry.
And then the other thing I want to shout out here, because there's no games left for video, Rick and Morty Season 3 is on PlayStation Video.
Does that come out now?
I mean, according to this.
I didn't know that. I'm going to have to get on that.
Yeah.
I know they released the first episode on April Fool's Day.
I've yet to make it through Season 1.
Oh, dude.
I'm working on it. Trying to. Well, that's the drop for this week. We had quite a few Vita games, quite a few VR games.
In general. I thought that was a really big drop.
It was a massive drop, just a mic drop.
Yeah.
I was trying to make a joke there and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Avon Colony is probably the one I'm most interested in of the
so.
ones I didn't really know about. And then that racing game.
Tiny Tracks?
Tiny Tracks would probably be the other one.
Infinite Mini Golf and
Yeah.
Pyre for me. And that Leaving Lindau.
What about It's Spring Again? You
I want to
excited for
watch the
that?
trailer for it. I'm going to do that right after we finish recording. Although it's on a Vita, so it may not. I may have to. Well, my Vita's no way that fucker's charged. It's been a while. Fortnite too. I mean, I kind of just want to see how that goes, but again,
Yeah.
not really my thing.
Yeah.
But
So-
that's your drop.
Moving on to the spotlights. My spotlight for this week is one you have done a couple weeks ago, as you told me on the way here, and I
couldn't tell if you forgot or if you wanted to talk about it again.
I intentionally did that. So the reason being is a couple things have happened. One, the game when it first came out was a bit iffy, and people kind of shat on it, to put it nicely. And two, there's a single player campaign coming very soon. I don't think they've given a date yet, but
And they released one
it's coming
piece of
very soon.
DLC as well, since we talked about it.
Did they?
Nintendo.
Oh, I didn't know those DLC. That was just they just
That was
showed up
free
one
DLC.
day. Oh. So Friday the 13th is what we're talking about. It's $40 digitally. I believe it's $60 physically, but I got the digital
Which is stupid.
score or price. It's a third-person horror game. We played it a lot on our streams. The gameplay you see behind us is actually from a recent
One of
stream
the
we did.
most fun streaming games I think I've ever played.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Dude,
enjoy
the-
it every time we play it.
The moment, and I think this is the stream from Sunday, from like last week. There's a moment where it may or may not show up where I try to get away in a car and I ramp on the edge of a rock.
I broke that out and made it a separate video so people could see what a shitty driver you are.
Did you break up both parts? Because the first part I got stuck on a rock.
Yeah.
And then I got away.
The tree.
And then
no, the whole thing.
Then
yeah, it's
then I got
called
stuck between.
Keegan sucks at driving or something
Yeah.
like that. But I did it all the way because for that scene, and before you get into your spiel,
Mm-hmm.
for that scene, how it starts out is, and you left this out, I died trying to protect you so that you could escape. So I'm like chopping away at Jason, and you get in the car and you drive off. You leave behind Cole, and then he eventually catches up with you. Then he died trying to protect you to get in the car so you could drive away again after you got it off the rock. Then you crash into a tree, and you try and get out like seven times.
The avoiding the tree, I was avoiding Jason. That's why I hit the tree.
You gotta
Jason
swerve
showed
back
up and I went,
faster.
it didn't work.
You just went right into a fucking tree.
Yeah.
And then he just stood in front of your car, and every time you started, it went boom. And it was, but you escaped like 8 times. It was fucking nuts.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
'cause
that was a fun bit of gameplay. I also did my escape as well. I broke that out too.
The one we didn't think you were going to
Where
do.
he was just fucking with me, and you guys
Yeah.
like, he's just going to kill you any second, and then I got away like a champ.
Yeah. So Friday the 13th, I don't want to go too much in depth because like I said, a couple weeks ago we went into it. But the big thing is, let's talk about the launch, because the launch was, as we said, a bit rough.
They were not expecting it to do as well as
The
it did.
servers were janky. The game still got some bugs in it. I think it's been ironed out a little bit. There's still a little jank in there.
The only bug I've come across recently is sometimes like it won't let me open a drawer.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll open it once, it'll close, and then it's just like the option to open it goes away.
Yeah.
Which is weird, but that's the only thing I've seen.
I've not
recently.
had that. I've had where I would go hide in something and I'll like pop through, so I don't know if I'm hidden or not. So my closet from this stream on Sunday, I hid in the closet like, as you know, like 3 or 4 times. I think we were in chat at that point.
I was watching.
But my boobs, I was a female, my boobs were hanging out the front, so I didn't know if you could see through like the door. Like because on my screen I'm going through the door. So it's like, am I actually in here and can you see me?
That would be hilarious.
If you
got
just walk
killed
in and you
by
see
your
them.
boobs. Your boobs are too big to be contained in the closet.
So that's the only other thing I've seen is something like that.
But the server times have improved
server times,
vastly.
like, yeah, we played last night on Sunday. We played both private and public. The public game, we waited maybe 45 seconds to a minute to find people, some a little longer than others.
That
we
used
also
to be a 20-minute wait.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first time I played the game, I turned it off because it was 25 minutes. And I was like, I'm not waiting this long anymore.
Do you think it's because players have dropped off playing it so much now that it's been a couple weeks, or do you think it's because they actually have improved the servers?
I think it's a mix of both. I think the initial launch, obviously, any game, you have that surge of people coming in playing the game. You have that peak of like, that's probably the height of it because this game had so much hype around it.
Right.
And then the servers had issues. People backed off. Then they did a free weekend. People came back on. Server issues showed back up.
Yeah,
and I think now we're at like the normal flex and flow of players because you can't blame the developers for not knowing how big the game is going to be because they don't want to overbuy things.
Yeah, they didn't, I mean, it's nice to be surprised by success, for sure, but I think that when you're scrambling, you must get pretty nervous that people are going to be hugely turned off of the title, which is why we're redoing this, because it's still fucking good. And they did do that free like double XP weekend or whatever, and then they gave
you 10,000.
Yeah, they gave you
CP.
a bunch of points, and they also gave everyone a Nintendo Friday the 13th game Jason skin. So that is
with the Nintendo music.
Big pink Jason with blue face. And whenever he's stalking you, instead of hearing the regular music, you hear a chip tune, basically, from back in the original game, which is, to me, more terrifying than the actual horror music that they put in there normally, because that chip tune really freaks me the fuck out when I hear it. But they gave all of that to people for free, and they have something coming.
Single-player DLC. So I have a question for you, or single-player campaign. Do you think the game would have got a better reception if the single-player was there at launch, so people could at least play that, versus being online only, where they like, I can't even play a game right now?
It's hard to say,
because it depends on how
good it is. Yeah, because all I've heard so far about the single players, it's basically bots, and you're just doing. But I can't imagine that would be how they do it. But I'm
trying to figure out how you would do it based on what I know of the game. How would you do single player around that game?
I guess you'd have to do it scenario based with an AI Jason. Which actually is kind of terrifying, because an AI Jason,
you don't know what's going to happen.
You don't know like how tricky they're going to be. I mean, you can set it to whatever difficulty level that you want. So if you had like a super hard AI Jason, I think you'd be pretty terrifying. When we're goofing around and playing it, obviously we're not as smart as an actual computer that knows where people are.
I'm real smart.
So
I loved doing during the stream, because when we play private servers, we play in game chat, so it's proximity like everything else. When we play with public, we tend to stay in our own chat so we can hear each other. Unless you're Jason and you take the headset off. But I loved, when I played Jason, I loved getting into the character of like, I see you.
Yeah, that was even creepier. That made that way creepier. He's like, why are you running away?
Why? Come back. I just want to be friends.
Terrible.
So, yeah, the main reason I want to come back to this is not necessarily to spotlight the game. It's to spotlight that this game is good and it's not broken like the internet says. Yes, it was broken for a little while, and that is understandable if you kind of held off. But at this point, I feel like I'm confident enough, and we've had enough fun with it to say you should go ahead and pick it up. And because I was a bit leery at first, because two things: one, it's a horror game, and two, server issues. You're always like, because For Honor had server issues. That's a game I've not gotten back into because it had so many server issues. The only reason I'm in it is because you were like, we need to stream it. I was like, cool, let's do it. And I think it's worth picking up now. Again, remember, there's a little bit of jank. The graphics aren't the greatest, but it's a lot of fun.
Kind of adds to the charm.
And please have a microphone on if you're playing. Like, you need to be in the game.
If you want to experience it the best way possible, the whole concept of the walkie-talkie and the proximity chat is part of the gameplay.
Yes.
So it's fine if you can't afford one or whatever. But like if you're walking around,
all PlayStation comes with one.
Well, I know, but some people just lost that or whatever. But if you don't have one for whatever reason, if you don't have a fucking headset in your life, then at least like try and communicate with other players, like flash your flashlight or something, so people know that you're paying attention and they can still talk to you.
Because the other thing is, like, when you're trying to escape, you need to know who has what. Like the problem we have when we do live streams in a public party or a public server or in a private party is if somebody like gets the keys, we don't know that because we can't hear them and they can't hear us.
Yeah.
So obviously if there's like 4 or 5 of us, it's easy because like, oh, I got the keys, I got this, and then we can go together. But those other people, we don't know what they had. There was one, I can't remember who was Jason, but there's one, they got the boat done and they went off and on their way.
Yeah.
Me and Cubby, I think it was me and Cubby got away on the boat.
Yeah.
I did not drive the boat after my driving experience in the car.
I was so close to getting you on that fucking boat. I teleported in front of you. I was waiting for you, and then when the button came up, you were going so fast. I was like, oh, just pressed
he was
all the
zigzagging
buttons
too.
And nothing happened.
So
yeah, it was close.
But pick up Friday the 13th again. I'm not here to be like this is because you talked about it when it first came out. But pick it up. It is a lot better than what it has been, and I kind of just feel like we needed to go back and say, hey.
And we didn't get a key for that game. We both purchased it, and it's $40 for that game. At this point, was always going to be a tough sell, but I think it's at the point now where you can get enough enjoyment out of it to qualify.
So I would say if you like Friday the 13th, which is I think why you go wanted it. Or if you like that online player experience, which is what I play all the time. Yeah,
just a really fun social game. Like, it's a game that if you're not really a big mega social gamer, like you don't really like MOBAs, you don't really like Overwatch or whatever like me, then it's something that is got a nostalgia aspect to it if you're my age, but also it's just genuinely always a good time. Because it's always so different.
On my end, I'm somebody who likes Overwatch. I'm somebody who likes online games. I'm very social gamer, so that's what drew me in. And I feel like it's a fine balance of I don't need to know about. I'm sure in the campaign it might have something, but I don't need to know about Friday the 13th. I just need to know Jason is a big scary dude, and that accounts are trying to get away from
There's
him.
another one called Dead by Dawn, I think, that is a similar principle, which I kind of want to take a look at and see if that's different. Because the Friday thing was what drew me in, but I do like that gameplay style of like.
You mean Dead by Daylight?
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, it was Dead by Daylight.
Something like that.
Yep, because that blew up on streams everywhere.
Yeah,
a while ago.
So I'm pretty tempted to check that out.
What's your spotlight this week, Tom?
So I'm spotlighting another walking sim. Well, it's not really a walking sim. It's a little bit of puzzle in there as well, and it's a psychological sort of game. So the game is called The Town of Light, and it came out a few weeks ago. It was on the cheaper side of things. I watched the trailer, and I was like, cool, let's do it. It's very similar to Colat in nature, which was last week's spotlight for me. But I had a choice between doing this or doing Earthbound or Earth something, whatever that new JRPG is that came out, and frankly I thought a JRPG would be too long to record, so I stuck with this one instead. So The Town of Light is a psychological horror adventure game developed by LKA. You're set in a hospital in Tuscany in Italy. And
sounds fancy.
Yeah, and the official name, and watch me butcher the fuck out of this, but is Ospedale Psichiatrico di Volterra.
Close enough.
Thank you. And you're a girl named Renee who was a patient at the hospital in the 1940s.
Did you know that me and Renee have the same birthday?
What's that?
March 12th.
March 12th, there you go. 16 years old, she's ripped out of her world, locked up and deprived of everything. Her only fault was that she didn't know what her place in the world was. A danger to herself and others and a cause of public scandal, wrote the police headquarters. The only horror you will find in this game is the truth. A blow to the solar plexus, much more intense than any supernatural presence. And genuinely, yes. It is a creepy game, but it's no ghosts. You are basically just like this girl taking a trip back to the mental institution that she had at some point, been a member of, and remembering stuff about the place. Flashbacks and things like that. So you first start out going in there and you have to get your doll. And it's weird because it's another one of those games that drops you into the deep end. It's just like, all right, here's a scene. Figure it out. So it took me forever to figure out where the fuck I was supposed to be going, and then when I found this big old asylum-looking thing, I thought, all right, I guess that's probably the way to go. Go in there, stumble around for a little bit. You can open and interact with lots of items in there. There's lots of like notes and stuff that get left by previous tenants, etc. But she keeps sort of hinting, and they'll subtly tell you what to do. There's a little bit of a subtitle here and there that's like, I need to find my doll or whatever, and you're like, oh shit, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. But there's no like way markers or anything. It's just explore. And they're very, very subtle about it, the way they do it. You actually find yourself going up to like maps on the wall and seeing which ward is, and kind of so it's kind of more complicated than your average walking sim.
I like that kind of stuff because to me that makes the world more real. Like too many times video games have like they've been gamified.
Yeah,
and I would love like that's why I think I'm liking Yonder as much as I am, because there's a HUD. They're actually I'm talking to the developers. They're doing a no HUD mode here shortly, and I would love that, just to explore the world and do it, because that to me immerses you way more than pulling up a fake map and like,
a health bar.
How do I see all this?
Yeah, no, it's really well done as far as how it's put together, and the story is super dark. There's like a lot of sort of hints towards obvious levels of abuse, and there's even like a hint towards rape at one point, and you're living in this. Honestly, if this was in VR, it would be so much more incredible than it is, but as it stands, it's still a pretty good game. There are no jump scares that I've come across throughout playing the game, so for someone like you who just fucking hates jump scares, I think even you would kind of dig it a little bit. The storyline is super dark, like I said. There's a weird mental health thing at the beginning of the game where it basically just talks about like, we're making this story for this reason, and then it talks about like, if you feel like you need to talk to somebody, then you can reach out here and here. And it actually tries to highlight mental health issues, because as you know, back in the 1940s, mental health was like, for a start, there was no such thing. It was, you're crazy and we can fix you.
There's still a stigma to it.
Right, there's still a stigma to it. But like they used to, do shock therapy, and like when you think of a madhouse, you just genuinely kind of, those people erase from your existence when you're thinking about it. So it was so much more brutal back then, and this kind of highlights a lot of those things, and there's lots of contraptions kind of left around the place. There's a super creepy atmosphere, and when you're walking around an asylum that you're looking for your doll, and then you find your doll and you have to pick it up, right? So you're walking around with this creepy ass doll in your hand, and then like you eventually find a place to put her that she's comfy, so you put her on a wheelchair, and then you have to wheel her around in the wheelchair, and you have to figure out like, how do I get the wheelchair up a set of stairs? Like those are the type of puzzles that you're in. They're like physics-based, like reality puzzles, not like, you know, oh, this switch unlocks this door or whatever.
And does that, yeah.
So they're very solvable. It's just a case of using a lot of common sense in terms of like, okay, there's a lift here, it needs power, where's the power switch? Turn the power switch on, go to the lift, and I'm on the second floor with my wheelchair dolly.
It's kind of a little bit like Zelda, where it's like, how do I cook something? Oh, you put a fire near it. How do I get warmer? I light a stick.
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of thing. Where
kind of like
a lot of games
trial
don't
and
do
error.
it. Yeah, a lot of games don't do it, but it makes sense in the real world. Once you realize the game is not treating you like an idiot.
Yeah.
Then
it absolutely doesn't treat you like an idiot at all. It barely holds your hand. Like there was a lot of times that I was just kind of like, all right, I don't know where the fuck I'm going anymore. I put the dolly over here. Like, what do I do? And then like you walk around for ages until there's suddenly like a hint out of nowhere that they're like, I should check out the original ward, and you're like, fuck. So you have to run back to the map and find the ward, and then go to, you know, it's kind of really well thought out. Tons of collectibles and stuff in there that you can pick up. Not just things like notes that you can dig into from, you know, like I said, previous patients and stuff, but also just like actual collectibles. It's like, oh, you picked up 1 of 8, or you picked up a new story segment, or whatever it might be. But the idea of the game is that as you're going around this asylum, you're supposed to be piecing together Renee's diary, which is basically like pretty much throughout her entire life, but it's just kind of like piecing together the story of how she went from a, you know, happy-go-lucky 16-year-old girl that loved her mother to being in a mental institution. It kind of follows that. The only qualms I had with it were when I very, very first kicked it up, and you might see some of that in the gameplay here. When I very, very first kicked it up, it was super, like, frame rate droppy. And I think it was just because I was outside. It almost reminded me of the first time I fired up Resident Evil 7. And, you know, when you're outside and they have to, like, do the physics for all the trees and everything and the bushes, that everything, because it's a little bit kind of choppy. And then when you get in the house, everything's, like, cool. It was very similar to that, because it starts almost exactly the same way, with you being outside the house and then walking into the house. So that was kind of a pain in the ass. The story is presented really well, though. Like, there's a lot of like, my favorite thing about walking sims is when you're walking and then like actual text appears in front of you and becomes a part of the background in the story. I love that. Edith Finch did an amazing job of that. Like when you open the gate, it would like shadow the words and stuff. Really, really smart. It is depressing. So let's just get that out of the way. Like, it's, if you want to play this for a good, happy, fun time, don't. It's not. It's a real life story about a real life asylum that is super like dark. And you don't play it for a fun time. You play it if you're into the macabre, if you're into just wanting to be kind of understanding of this awesome story of this 1940s you know, asylum. And from what I played, and I only played roughly 40 to 45 minutes or so of the game just to kind of test it out and get used to it, it's a little spacious. Like, it's a little bit kind of like there's lots of open spaces that are not utilized at all. There's a lot of...
Do you think it's big just for the sake of being big?
I don't think so, no. I think they did try and recreate the idea of this abandoned mental asylum, but the fact is that like they're not giving you a whole lot to do, because there's only really one thing to do, and that's progress the story. So it's a lot of go from A to B to C to D to E, sometimes go back to A again, then go back to C again. So a bit of backtracking and a little bit of just kind of like a sense of real openness, and not that there's a lot going on. But it does tend to get more funneled and more interesting as it goes forward, and you start actually being able to control the flashbacks, and you're walking through a real asylum in the 40s, and it gets a little creepier from there. But yeah, it's a fun little title. I wouldn't say fun exactly, but it's
interesting.
Yeah, if you're into those types of games, if you liked Edith Finch, if you liked Colette after seeing it last week, then you would totally dig The Town of Light. It's just a really well told story.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you know this about me, but I love like psychological fucked up things.
That's surprising.
Yeah,
considering your general demeanor.
I don't like being scared, but I like getting into the thought process behind people and what they do and how they react to certain situations, because that tells you a lot about that person. So that's what this kind of is making me think of, is like, why is this girl in here? What happened to her? That kind of thing. And I love that perspective on things, of like, why is this person so fucked up? and what made her that way, because
she's
it's usually something.
She's a little weird, like while she's doing the narration, like she's like, oh, I gotta find Charlotte, my dolly, or whatever, and you're like, yeah, you're a little crazy, but like she's not like a bad person, you know what I mean? She's not evil. She just seems to be a little bit off.
Yeah.
And when you're having these flashbacks of like these big burly guards that are like showering with her and stuff, it's really unnerving, and especially like as a first-person game, you're kind of like it's weird. But they do tell a lot of the sub stories in like comic book style as well. So the artwork is really quite fantastic too. So highly recommended. The Town of Light. It's not a super pricey game. It's somewhere in that 10 to 20 region. I cannot remember exactly how much. Sorry guys, but it's one of those ones that ends up on those sales all the time for like $5 or whatever. So I say check it out.
Cool. Moving on to our question of the week, and this is another two-parter like we had last week.
Uh-oh.
So our question is, are exclusives good for gaming, like console exclusives, or are timed exclusives good for gaming, or do they hurt the industry as a whole? So let's start with the first one. What's your take on having console exclusives? Like strictly just exclusive to console, whether it's first party, third party, doesn't matter. Just exclusives.
I'm weirdly okay with it. Yeah, because here's the thing, like, Nintendo aside, because Nintendo, everything is pretty much exclusive to Nintendo. They're lucky if they get anything from anyone else. But most of their games are first party and or developed by people that are in close relation with Nintendo. But let's talk about PS4 versus Xbox One. And, right now, when I look at the game collections that are out there exclusive for one or the other console, I don't see anything that's making me desperate to own an Xbox One. And that's not to say that they don't have their good exclusives. They do. But there's not enough, in my opinion. There needs to be more exclusives for Xbox so that I feel more inclined to buy one. Because contrary, like, I'm not a kid anymore. Like, I can own 2 consoles now. So it's like I want more, because right now the majority of games that come out are on both things, and there's nothing to separate the two, aside from if you really want to get VR. And then even Xbox is solving for that pretty soon. So it's a case of like we had an Xbox One donated to us by a good friend of ours, and because of that I went out and I picked up the Rare Collection, which I'd never played, and I picked up the Gears of War Remaster and Gears of War 4.
I own those already too.
Yeah, which I didn't know. But they were cheap, and I was like, you know what? Gears of War 4 is a game that I would play as an exclusive on the Xbox. And it's one of the only ones out there right now, because I'm not a big Halo fan.
But do you think if it was available on PS4, you'd buy it for PS4?
Yeah, I would.
So do you think it's better to have it on everything? I mean, granted...
No, because I want a reason to buy an Xbox One, because they have... It's not just the games that separate the consoles. Like, a lot of it is to do with the UI, it's to do with the controllers, it's to do with the friends that play it and that kind of stuff. Like, give me a reason to buy it, because I will spend my money like an idiot on anything. But
you bought 2 PS TVs.
That's true. It's a real fact, and a PSP Go. But like, there's a lot of friends that I have.
Steam Link.
Yeah, there's a lot of friends that I have. Oh, I like that. That play on Xbox, and I can't play with them because I have the PS4, and I'd like to have it, even if I had to buy the game twice, or at least if I had the option of knowing, oh, more of my Xbox friends bought this game than my PS4 friends, I'll buy it for Xbox or whatever. So I think more exclusives would be better than less exclusives.
So my take on exclusives that are specific to consoles, like Cuphead, as an example, I would immediately buy Cuphead if it's on PS4. I'm gonna get it because we have an Xbox One. Not everybody can have an Xbox One.
You wouldn't buy
can't
the
have
Xbox
both
One for it.
For Cuphead. Unlike you, I'm a Halo fan. I played Halo back in the day. I played Halo 1, 2, 3. I played Reach. I stopped it. I didn't play ODST.
I did.
And then
right.
I played 4. And I haven't played 5. I have 5. I haven't played it yet though, because the Xbox I think is chilling here.
Yeah.
So I haven't played that yet. I haven't played Gears of War yet, but I want to play these games because I played I've heard about Gears of War, and I had an Xbox 360, never played them, but I'm like, let me go back and play with these remasters, because when you buy Gears of War 4...
You like the Division, you will dig Gears of War.
Yeah, it all comes back. But if we weren't lucky enough to have that thing in our possession, I probably would not buy an exclusives-only machine. Because think about the time and money, or the money you invest into that to play only 6 or 7 games a year.
Well, that's
tricky to do.
That's the downside, is the only 6 or 7 games a year. That's why I'm saying make it more.
But if those 6 or 7 games are available on everything, that to me because obviously Microsoft and Sony are both.
But then what differentiates one over the other?
That's what I'm saying. So let me get my point. All right. So Microsoft and Sony are in the business of selling boxes.
True.
So Microsoft's going to say these are our exclusives. Sony's going to say these are our exclusives. Let me show this one off. Let me show that one off. You choose which one you want. That's the reality of things, and I don't think we'll ever get it where Microsoft is going to make something on Sony because it's never going to happen. Vice versa, Sony will never make something for Microsoft. In a perfect world, though, you would open it up to so Sony has 50-ish million, Microsoft has 25-ish million units out there. Maybe Sony might be closing on to 60 at this point, but that's another 25 million people that could buy your game for 40, 50, 60 bucks, and you get the money that way.
As far as for the developers and for the console manufacturers, yeah, it makes sense for them to do something like that, but then the problem is that if those games become available to everyone, you really have to work hard on distinguishing your box from the other box. And that's what I'm saying. I don't think that's the only way they can do it right now.
I don't think it'll ever. I don't think it'll ever happen. Yeah. This is just a pipe dream that I would love to play Halo on PS4, or even if they made a crossplay. Like, that's the big thing for me is I have friends on both platforms, like you're saying, I can't play with because I bought a game on the wrong platform. Yeah. It's the right platform for me because that's where most of my friends are playing, but I have friends over here that are playing the same game, and I'm like, that kind of sucks.
Crossplay coming into it would make life a lot easier for everybody, honestly, if they
on that,
if
Sony.
Sony would figure that out. But it's it's a weird one because I think and I actually have a differing opinion on the other thing, which is why I think it's more interesting because can we move to that?
We can.
So for the timed exclusives, I actually disagree with that. I think if it should be exclusive, it should be exclusive to that console, full stop. There are situations where you will hear me saying the exact opposite of that when there's a game that I really want to play and it gets snapped up by another developer. Because even though that makes it exclusive for that console, sometimes it's, for those people that don't have the funds or whatever to pick up a secondary console, the non-adults or non-high-paying job people in the room.
Even the average Joe usually has one console.
Right, exactly. So we got kind of lucky with ours, but it's. I don't know. The timed exclusive thing really bothers me. Like when they did that with PlayStation, with Tomb Raider, I was just like, this game already exists as a franchise here. That's the difference. I think if it already exists as a franchise and the last iteration of it was on this console, to then say the sequel will only be on the other console for like a year is super shitty.
So
that's really
question
bad.
For you then, Crash.
Yeah.
There's rumor it will become an Xbox One.
Yeah.
That means it'd be time exclusive. What's your thought on that?
I mean, it's annoying.
That's it.
I'm happy for the people that will eventually get to play it on Xbox, but I think it should have been either released for both to begin with, or make it an exclusive and make it part of the reason people buy a PlayStation. You know what I mean? Like, just put it in one category. Like, either you want this as your machine seller, or you don't. Like the whole sort of you just have to wait a bit longer.
Because Microsoft E3 was console. Well, I can't remember the wording they used, but they had console exclusive.
World exclusive.
Well, the world premieres.
Launch exclusive.
Launch exclusive. That was the wording they used.
Yeah.
And to me, that's an issue. So I don't have an issue with timed exclusives if that time frame is reasonable. So Inside is a prime example. Inside came out on Xbox One. I can't remember what month it came out, but a month later it was on PS4. To me, that's reasonable. You let Microsoft get.
I'm more okay with that than with the Tomb Raider.
You let Microsoft get their money for that. People maybe that's the tipping point. So obviously you're probably not going to buy a console for that game. But I know a lot of people that were so hyped on that game that maybe they were debating on getting an Xbox, and that was the point where let me jump in this and get it. The downside of that is then it became PlayStation available, and they're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
If they wanted a PlayStation, but then they would have bought a PlayStation and waited. So I don't have an issue if it's timed exclusive within a reasonable window. I think a year is too much. I think Tomb Raider kind of shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
The other issue
that was like a giant fuck you to their Sony fan base. Yeah. Honestly.
The other issue I have with exclusives outside of games is we've talked about Destiny 2 has things only on PS4
content.
Yes, and I have an issue with that because that's a multi-platform game. That content is only on one. Division. I love The Division. I'm a huge fan of The Division. I played hundreds of hours of The Division. Everything came out on Xbox first, which part of me cared, part of me didn't because I knew I was going to play it anyway. But the part of me that cared was I'm so into this game. I want to play it now. I have to wait a month, but I can see all these streams of people showing this stuff off, and I was like, I want that. And that kind of sucked because it's I've seriously debated on picking up on the Xbox because of that. What do I where do I put my money? But I've already played with David and everybody else on PlayStation. I've already built my character up. Might as well stay here. And I have an issue with doing the stuff in game on a cross-platform game already. That is exclusive.
I think it's fair.
I don't have an issue with timed exclusives.
I don't want like skins and stuff. Like that stuff's fine. Like,
it depends.
If Nintendo wants to put a Zelda skin in Skyrim,
that's okay. If it's their IP or if it's known to be their IP, I don't have an issue. So like if they put a Crash Bandicoot skin in Skyrim, like cool. That will never happen. But that's an example like that. Crash Bandicoot in my brain is Sony versus Xbox has Halo, has Gears of War, has Forza. Those are like
or at least do. Like, so for example, one game that springs to mind, this might be a bit old for a lot of you guys, but Soul Calibur, one of the original ones, I think it was like third Soul Calibur, they had an exclusive Star Wars character for each console, but because it's Star Wars, it's kind of neutral territory. So like I believe it was Xbox guys got Darth Vader and the PlayStation guys got Yoda. So depending on who you think is your favorite or whatever, that's kind of okay because that's like neutral ground, I think. But
if you're somebody who wants to play the whole game,
but they should have made it so like maybe like Darth Vader was free, but you could buy Yoda, but Yoda was free, but you could buy Darth Vader. Like that would have been
cool with that. Yeah. That's like when you pre-order at Walmart and you get something that you can't get at GameStop. Like, why do you choose where you pre-order a game? I fucking pre-order it on PlayStation Network because it's the easiest way to do it. I do digital, but like, it sucks when you go to pre-order a game. It's like only at Walmart you can get this. I'm like, well, this is dumb. Whatever. Granted, most of those things are not like obviously game changers, but it is something that, again, I now understand those people that put hundreds of hours into a game. They're like, I want everything. The Division was that. I'm still collecting stuff in the Division because I want all the clothing. I want all this, and
you have a problem.
Yeah, it's real dumb, but I've invested so much time. It's like Elder Scrolls right now. One of the things I'm working on. I played that game. I'm level 300. And I've passed over 350.
Over almost 9,000.
Yeah. One of the things I'm working on is getting all the crafting motifs, and I'm working on those high level ones, getting those done. Like I want to collect all the crafting motifs. I don't care about learning X, Y, and Z or doing dungeon X, Y, and Z. That's what my thing is. And if Elder Scrolls came out, Elder Scrolls Online is like, by the way, you can only get this motif on Xbox One, I would be pissed.
Yeah.
Even if it's not one I wanted, it was just out of principle.
Yeah.
For it. So I'm with that. I have an issue with, but with timed exclusives, I don't. With platform exclusives, I'm mixed because part of me is like, when it kind of like you said, when it's not my platform, I want it, but then when it is your platform, you don't care because you don't think about it. So like Cuphead is the big one for me.
I would like Xbox people to be able to play Horizon,
but then Sony and Microsoft have to sell their boxes.
But then, that's what I mean. So when it comes down to it, if we're not going to do that, if we're not going to say that like all these games are available everywhere,
it comes down to services.
Then let's make more exclusives per console, and then maybe try and extenuate your UI differently, your online differently, your store differently, like all that stuff. Like your controllers are different and that kind of thing. Yeah. And and this is getting more and more further apart when we look at things like the PS4 Pro versus the Xbox One X, because then you're talking about hardware differences as well as software differences as reasons to get the consoles separately, which you've always had a little bit of, but they basically like run the same shit, like for the most part.
Yeah, and then it's up to the developers.
Because the developers are really in the wheelhouse of getting to say how good this game looks.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
So, I mean, my final take, console exclusives I'm cool with. Selfishly, you obviously want everything. Timed exclusives I'm cool with as long as it's reasonable. And then any sort of like console-specific exclusivity when it comes to content within a multi-platform game,
like that.
I'm not a fan of. That's my... What's your recap, Tom?
Yay for exclusives, boo for timed exclusives.
Even if they're reasonable?
Kind of boo still, honestly.
Kind of boo.
It's annoying. Yeah.
Hey, boo.
Yeah, I mean, a month is better than a year, but then, that's just math. So
that is math.
I still don't like the fact they do it to begin with.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? Is exclusivity good, bad for gaming? Is there a game that made you pick which console you guys are on? Obviously, this is a PlayStation podcast, so I assume most of the people are on PlayStation 4. But like for me, what's interesting is no PlayStation. The reason I picked PlayStation, I've told the story before, was not because of exclusives, because I don't give a shit. I gave a shit once I got a console. But I did it because that's where my friends were.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm definitely, when it comes to exclusive, I'm way more, because I was a 360 guy, Halo was, like, my big thing. But then when you think back of it, you're like, every game I played was cross-platform, multi-platform. So.
There you go.
But what you guys' thoughts on that?
What do you think?
Use
guys.
Use guys. Do you think exclusives are good? Do you think timed exclusives are good? What do you think of content-specific exclusives to certain platforms? That is TCSX, your weekly PlayStation podcast, episode 4, I believe is what we said at the beginning.
The episode.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We have, as Tom mentioned earlier, we have Theseus, a review up. We have a gameplay, 40 minutes, I believe is what it is,
40 minutes.
of Theseus as well, up on our channel if you want to go check that out. That's one of the new VR games. We also have a super hot. We got a lot of VR games coming our way.
We've been doing quite a lot of
lots of trailers,
gameplay videos and trailers and stuff lately. Hopefully you guys are digging that. That's part of the supplemental content that we promised to you. But yeah, that's about it for TCSX. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. And as always,
so your voice cracked.
As always,
welcome to the second level.
Bye.
It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level.